Hey, my friends. So, anybody who's been, awake on any level over the past, let's say, 40, 50 years, has been able to notice that the Jewish people, vis-a-vis the land of Israel, are experiencing what's called kibbutz galuyot. We're experiencing a very significant gathering of the exiles. In particular, when people such as myself, of my community, the former Soviet Jews, ended up going to the land of Israel. 1 million people. And as I mentioned before on previous videos, it's a famous gematria, right? If you write out, the Russian way to spell USSR, SSSR, you write that out in Hebrew, which is Samach Reish, then you'll get 380, which is the same gematria, the same numerical value as Mitzrayim, which is 380. So we had a modern day physical and also really religious Mitzrayim, Exodus. That was part one of the Exodus, what I would say. Part two of the Exodus, my friends, is what probably will happen very, very soon. When I say soon, it may just be within a couple of years, if not months. My friends, we see that Zohar Mamdani just became the mayor-elect of the most Jewish city in the history of the world that is outside of the land of Israel. Folks, I repeat, New York City is the most Jewish city in terms of culture and in terms of population, outside of outside the land of Israel in the history of the world. Folks, and if a person like that who says that he's going to arrest the Prime Minister of Israel if he lands on at least in New York, right? That's just like the tip of the iceberg of how this guy feels about Israel, about Jews. Then all the signs are pointing to the fact, my friends, that Hashem is at the very least starting the process of the last stages of the ingathering of the exiles. Hashem himself. And you could say Mashiach is working behind the scenes, but we don't know who Mashiach is, and we don't see Mashiach. Maybe we can feel Mashiach, but Hashem is definitely doing it. My friends, on top of that, and I think I pointed this out before, how do I know that checks out, let's say? That could check out. Mamdani is going to be inaugurated on January 1st. That week's Torah portion is Vayehi. That's the last Torah portion of the book of Genesis, the book of Bereshis. And it's the portion when Yaakov blesses all of his sons. Yaakov, whose name became Israel, which is what we're named after, the land, our country, the land is named after Israel, Yaakov essentially. So basically, my friends, we should know that we are being blessed by Israel, or blessed by Hashem, by way of Israel, and the fact that if we will be in Israel, if all of us go to Israel, we will be blessed. Like, I'm saying all the Jews, but at the very least the Jews of, if not all of America, then at least of the Jews of the New York kind of metropolitan area. We will be blessed. And interesting, guys, the following Parsha after Vayehi is already the beginning of the book of Exodus, the book of Shmot, and it's Parsha Shmot. And like the fourth or fifth verse basically says that a new Pharaoh came who did not know Yosef. Basically, my friends, at that time, the economic center of the world was Mitzrayim. Yosef was the viceroy, was the advisor. He was like, so to speak, the main Jewish advisor, right, of the economic power of the world. And then eventually, then Yosef passed away, and then a new Pharaoh came, a new leader came. He didn't know Yosef. Not only he did not know Yosef, he didn't know the Jews were kind of a problem for him. There's too many of them. They're going to be our enemy. They're going to turn on us. Blah blah blah. Folks, you also hear today, right? We hear from like the Groypers. Oh, the Jews, it's like America first. The Jews are not, they're not loyal to America. Blah blah blah. It's a combination of it's not just Mamdani, right? It's also the Groypers. It's also people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, etc., etc. These types of people, right? So it's all happening at once, guys. So immediately, a new Pharaoh comes, and the so-called Pharaoh of the most Jewish city in the world, in the diaspora, again outside of Israel, is not a friend of the Jews. Is not a friend of Israel. And so begins the process of leading us out of Mitzrayim. My friends, this whole thing that I just outlined to you could not be any clearer. I mean, like, I'm not into, I have friends who are like what I would call them accelerationists. They want these kind of things to happen so that, the Jews have to leave and the Jews will be, chased out. And folks, I'm not a fan of like things happening in what's called a non-pleasant way, right? I like things to be with what's called Darchei Noam, the path of pleasantness, right? But if Hashem is showing us that, okay, like, this is the story, right? And it's been the story, and it is the story, and it's only getting quicker and quicker, it's only getting more obvious and obvious, it's only getting more kind of in your face, and it's one of those things where if you don't understand, then it's like, hello, you're I don't know, you're living under a rock, really, or you're just so stuck that there's no, I don't know how to help you. So, my friends, we should know that we are blessed. Israel is where we are blessed. We are blessed by Israel and in Israel, despite all the stuff, despite all the things that are going on, which, by the way, Baruch Hashem, things are being uncovered now, also very, very quickly, and also very, very in an obvious way, to the point where the people of Israel, who before couldn't see certain things that were being done to them by their government, by the anti, the government that's against the Torah, that's against really them, right? Now they're seeing it. They're seeing it, and they see how outrageous it is, how absolutely just blatant it is, and embedded it is, and how deep it is, right? And at the same time, here in America, the Jews are seeing, okay, maybe it's time to already start making plans. Yeah, it's not gonna be tomorrow, it's not gonna be the next day, but it's already time to, like, at the very least, wipe the dust off that old Samsonite. You know what I mean, guys? And if you're not going to Israel, yeah, there's other places besides New York, but these are just, like a lot of people are saying, these are just places to buy time, respites, stops, connecting cities, so to speak. Like, you have a connecting flight, I like to tell people, Miami's a connecting flight between places like New York and Israel, right? It could be a long connection, right? It could be a long layover, very long one. It could be weeks, could be months, could be a year, could be more than that, but it's a layover nonetheless, my friends. So, with that said, guys, the Exodus Part 2, or Portion 2. For me, Part 1 in the modern era was the Soviet Union. The millions of Jews like myself. I mean, we ended up going to America to take the layover. A lot of people went to Israel. But the sequel, so to speak, or the rest of the story, B'ezrat Hashem, is happening right before our eyes, guys. And all we have to do is, have the eyes to see it. And, the question is, are we going to participate in it actively or not? B'ezrat Hashem, we will be more active than not. And either way, guys, it's coming. All right, guys. B'ezrat Hashem, and talk to you guys soon.